So let's jump in. Since we have 30 minutes and I want to make sure I address everything you want me to address here. This is your session. I'm going to go through some slides for you, but I want, if at any time you have any questions, and we will have a Q&A session at the end, but I just want to make sure that I'm addressing your questions as well, even as we go along. So welcome, my name is Judy Hirsch. We will be discussing what you need to know to take the CAPM exam. And before we begin, just a few webinar logistic details. Again, we'll have that Q&A session at the end, but you can post your questions in the chat if you like, or you can feel free to raise your hand by clicking the React button or icon at the bottom of your screen and selecting the raise hand option. And then we can take it from there and answering your questions. So let's just start with some formalities about this webinar. We have to put these up to show that these are our PMI and RMC Learning Solutions attribution statements, right? These are all our copyrighted materials or PMI's copyrighted materials, so we can't reproduce those. And again, these materials can't be recorded or reproduced, but feel free to encourage others to register for one of our exam prep classes, or here are our contact details for you as well. If you don't have all that readily available, that's here for you. And my background, just very quickly, is I'm a professional business coach, trainer, and certified PMP since 2013, and I have quite a few years, more than 20 years of experience in project management and software training and professional development training and many different industries, although my background is primarily in the pharmaceutical and IT industries. And I've led cross-functional and cross-cultural teams around the world through major global initiatives and software implementation and compliance projects for Fortune 500 companies, some of which you may have heard of, Merck, Novo Nordisk, Abbott Laboratories, and so on. So now I teach certification courses for RMC Learning Solutions full-time. So I'm so happy to have you here. I just want to tell you briefly about RMC Learning Solutions. Rita Mulcahy founded RMC Learning Solutions, and she was a project manager in the late 1990s and one of the world's first certified PMPs. And what she was really frustrated by the lack of the preparation materials available for these certification exams. So she wrote the first draft of the PMP exam prep book, and that was published back in 1998. And at the time, it was the first of its kind. So she's since developed other resources like the CAPM prep book. We have ACP, PBA, so different certifications, but we're here to talk about CAPM today. And you can see on the slide that, we have an international reach as well. And it's just exciting. We're celebrating 33 years this year. So that's, we know a thing or two about teaching you how to prepare for your exams. So with that, we're going to be talking about, is the CAPM exam right for you? And we're going to go through the exam content outline, what's included, what can you do to prepare? And then if you're getting ready, well, would you want to take an online proctored or test center test? And so which location is best for you? We'll touch on that as well. Okay, so when I deliver these webinars, I love to know where you are all in your CAPM certification process. Maybe you're not quite ready to start your exam prep yet, and you're still considering it, or maybe you started your application, but you didn't quite finish it all, as you still need to get those professional education hours. We need 23. And maybe, you even have an approved application and you're considering whether to take a prep course or something to that nature. So just pop in the chat if you don't mind. Where are you in your your preparation toward the CAPM certification? You're just kind of exploring at this point. Where are you? If you could pop that in the chat, then I'll know, where we all are, and kind of also help me hone this our presentation for today. Because this is what we want to talk about. Is your application submitted? Well, if yes, you should submit your application, then continue with the exam prep, right? If it's complete. If your application is complete, of course you want to submit it, and then continue with preparations for select your date and continue with preparations. If no, obviously you want to make a commitment to complete it this week and follow the exam preparations and study plan. Or let's see, we've got exploring, try to find out if I should take this or PMP. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do a session on the PMP next. If you want to stay tuned, we'll do a PMP preparation or overview next in a different Zoom session though. Try to figure out where to start. Yeah, good. Okay, well, you're in the right place for all of these, whether you're exploring or trying to figure out where to start. Let's see. So if it's not, we have this other information. Has your application been approved and so on? So sounds like maybe some of us are just in the just getting ready, considering, trying to figure out what we want to do, stage. If you have any questions about anything as we go along, let me know. The application fees for if you're a member of PMI is $225. Otherwise it's $300 to apply. And if you want to maintain your CAPM certification, you need 15 PDUs in a 3-year cycle. Okay, so just a few things to give you more information. Before you apply, be sure you meet the following CAPM certification requirements. So all the education hours that you see here on the screen, the 23 hours have to be completed at the time, have to be finished at the time of the examination. The course hours may include content on project quality, scope, time, cost, resources, communications, risk, procurement, integration management, agile, and business analysis. So it'll actually say on the exam content outline, it'll give you some of this information on the ECO as to what's required. But I wanted to also go through some of that with you. This is also on pmi.org. If you type in CAPM certification in the search bar, you'll have the eligibility requirements that you see here on the screen. Any questions so far about eligibility requirements, what you see here? Okay, so I want to make sure that everybody's with me. So what's in the ECO? What's in the exam content outline? Because this is what they base the CAPM exam from, is the exam content outline. So I want to go through that briefly with you so you know at a high level what to expect on the exam. First of all, let me just show you on the screen here. I'm going to take a moment just to switch my screen over because, let me see here. Okay, so this is the exam content outline, and the latest version here is a 2023 version. And it just shows you in the exam content outline how it's broken down by domain. And a domain is a high-level knowledge area that is necessary for the practice of project management according to the PMI way. Okay, and then so you see that here, and if you access the exam content outline, which you can access from pmi.org, you can see what percentage will be on the test of each of these domains, which is nice. And if you go further into this, and explains what a task is and what an enabler is, because under each domain you have the tasks. What are the tasks? Well, the tasks are basically the responsibilities of the project team members within each domain area. So we know what's expected. We have to be able to demonstrate an understanding of the various project life cycles and processes. And these are the tasks are here at the top, and these enablers are just illustrative examples of what the tasks are that we're expected to implement as certified project CAPM, having the CAPM certification. So this is a really great guideline for you to review in preparation for the exam. And all of our materials, our MC Learning Solution materials, are based on this, the exam content outline, as well as some other resources like PMBOK guide that we'll talk about as well. But I wanted to just show you, and again, you can download this for free on pmi.org, the exam content outline. Let me just come back here. And like I was saying, if you do review the exam content outline, I explained what the domain was and what the tasks are and the enablers as well. And I also have on this next slide, just kind of a breakdown as well of that exam content outline, knowing that, we have a certain number of tasks per domain, and those are broken down to those enablers, which is illustrative examples of what those tasks entail. And so this is, again, just another display of this here on the slide, but you can see that directly in the ECO. So what is the exam like? Let's talk about that. For the CAPM exam, we have 180 minutes total to take the exam. And though they're spaced apart, so there's a 10-minute break in between the first half and the second half of the exam, as you can see here. So you want to, we just kind of gave some guidelines. You want to kind of estimate that you have about 72 seconds, right? A little bit over a minute per question to keep yourself at the cadence and the pace that you want to be at to make sure that you have enough time for every question. So you take the first 75 questions and then you have a 10-minute break. And so the exam itself is made up of a total of 150 questions in various formats. And there are actually 15 pre-test or unscored questions where they're just trying out experimental questions. So we're actually we have 135 that were scored on. And they're randomly generated from a database of questions. And answers are, let's say it says, pick 3 for one of your exam questions, and you pick 2 that are right and 1 is wrong, it's still considered all incorrect because answers are either right or wrong, no partial credit, and they're each worth 1 point. And passing score isn't published. So it's a pass or fail, but there's not a percentage that's given, but if you've passed or not as soon as you finish your exam. Okay, so let's see, any questions so far on what we've covered? The other thing, just to kind of give you an FYI, is before that, as soon as you click, let's just say you finish your first 75 questions, you'll be given an option to go back and review to make sure that you, first of all, answered everything, and second of all, that there's none that you want to go back and just double check, because you can mark questions for review as you go along. But once you click submit for the first part of your exam, when you actually submit it and you go into the break time, which is at 10-minute time, you can't go back at that point and say, oh, wait a minute, I have to go back and change my answers. So just kind of knowing that as well. And once you click submit, you finish the first section. Okay, so I want to also share with you, there are going to be some different CAPM exam question types. Now, if you haven't yet accessed the CAPM exam outline, ECO, make sure you access that, download that from pmi.org. And if you type in CAPM certification, it'll take you to that page, and the ECO, the exam content outline, will be available for download. And in that ECO, it'll also describe to you the question types that are available: multiple choice, matching, drag and drop, animation, comic strip, point and click. And it'll explain what each of these question types are, so that you can familiarize yourself. The majority are still going to be the the multiple choice, where you pick either A, B, C, or D, but they are adding some additional question types. And again, if you look at the exam content outline, it will explain what each of those question types are. And it's nice to familiarize yourself with those as well. We have these built into some of these question types we already have built into our resources. For example, our PM Fast Track, which is our exam simulator, and our practice test question database as well, that you can access and practice. So we have taken that into account that there are going to be multiple exam question types. All right, so keeping us on our toes, but the majority will be just the typical multiple choice. Okay, so the CAPM, the current exam is a combination of development approaches, meaning when we're referring to development approaches, we're talking about agile, predictive, hybrid. So you will see both. You need to be aware of agile terminology as well as predictive, and hybrid is really a combination of an agile approach and a predictive approach. Now, the questions are going to be divided into 4 domains, like we saw: the project management fundamentals, predictive, agile, and business analysis. And again, there's 150 questions. You have one break, and it's a total of 180 minutes for the exam. We talked about the new question types that you can review as well and familiarize yourself with. And these are just, I wanted to share with you that there are a few resources that are pulled from in order to create the exam itself. So first of all, PMBOK Guide is not the only resource used by exam question writers. So there's a lot of different resources. We have, of course, the exam content outline. The process groups of practice guide is another wonderful resource for really outlining the inputs, the tools and techniques, and the outputs. And again, this is not like we have to read these books cover to cover, but they're great resources to help integrate during your study the content that you need to know for the exam. Agile Practice Guide, Business Analysis for Practitioners. When you go on, if you are a member of PMI.org, and I'm not in any way plugging membership, but if you happen to be a member or if you would like to be a member, what's great is you can download these materials on their website for free. So that's a nice perk of being a member as well. And we have in all of our study materials for the CAPM exam and all of our prep materials, we've already taken the liberty of extracting all the key content from all of these different resources that through our research we know where PMI pulls the content from. So we've extracted the key information from these materials and put them in our exam prep book, and all of our resources like our fast track, which is again our exam simulator and test simulator, practice test opportunity. We have our online flashcards and so on. So we've done the work of extracting key information. But these are, just want to make you aware as well that, if you wanted to read these cover to cover, or if you want to have more information and look at least in reference guides, these are great reference guides. Okay, so we are, the exam is going to use these resources, and there's not going to be one single source that the exam is based on, and it tests our knowledge of concepts, meaning it's not about memorization. It's really about understanding so that when you're given a situation in a question, you can analyze it and choose the right answer. This is one of our proprietary resources that have proven to be one of the most valuable resources for millions of people because, for our students to prepare for the exam because, or maybe thousands and thousands of people, I can't say millions of people, but it's incredible. This is specifically for the plan-driven approach to project management. And we have a game that goes with this. So this is in our book, and we have a game, both a printable game and also an online game. And this really helps you understand the project management processes and what's expected of a project manager and how each of the expectations and what we're supposed to be doing fits into each process group, which you see at the top. So this is a phenomenal resource that's helped Rita, and that's why she created it. And we've been working with thousands and thousands of people and have found this has been one of the most valuable tools. Now we have this created both for Agile and for predictive. This particular screenshot I have here is from our predictive project management processes, but we have the same for Agile. We have a game that goes along with this, and it just helps in understanding what we are expected to know for the exam. And it's all in one place, and which is really helpful, again, for memorization. And when you play this game, it really helps to anchor in these terms and these processes so we can answer situational questions. Okay, so what can you do to prepare? So this is exciting because we have all the materials. Now the latest materials is the 5th edition. And so we have a prep book, print and digital. We have what I keep referring to as the fast track exam simulator, which also provides practice tests as well. So you can take the full exam simulator, which is going to mimic the full exam, official exam, or you can take practice tests on each chapter. So when you finish reading a chapter, you can take a subset. You can choose how many questions per chapter you would like to take. You take that subset, and you can start testing your knowledge as you go along. And then when you finish the book, you can take the full exam simulator and then get your score and then analyze the gaps that you have in your, in the content. You can see there's a trend, which domains that you have maybe to work more on, and which, you really could start honing in on the topics that you need to spend more time on based on that extraction, that Excel report that you get from your exam simulator. So it's a phenomenal resource for preparing you. And then we have Hot Topics flashcards, which are digital flashcards that are also a phenomenal resource. Our next instructor-led virtual, because some people prefer to do this at their own pace. Some people would like to join a class. If you're interested and you want to be a part of a class, and they're usually fairly small, so you get a lot of interaction with the instructor, you can, the next class that's coming up is December 9th through 11th. So get in touch with us if you're interested in looking into that. Feel free to reach out. You can go to our website as well, our info@rmcls.com, info@rmcls.com. You can email that email address as well. And if you're concerned about Agile and you feel like I just don't have a lot of Agile experience, I want more. First of all, these are also materials that we give you access to if you are part of our instructor-led classes. But this is just a good resource. We also like to recommend this particular resource, Agile Fundamentals. It's a phenomenal resource if you want to really have a robust understanding of Agile, with some great graphics in it too to help integrate the content. Okay, so this is just a great book if you haven't had education in Agile, or you're only familiar with one methodology. You've been working mostly in predictive, aka waterfall, aka plan driven, right? All the same. So again, we have this code, since you're here at this webinar and you're interested in buying this book on our website. Feel free to use this code Agile Webinar 10, and you get $10 discount off the book, Agile Webinar 10. So that's a great deal too. And then I just want to go through a couple of things with you. If you are really considering and you just don't know which exam environment to take your exam in, if you take your CAPM exam on in a testing center, what's so nice about that is you can request, if some people worry about noise, you can request earplugs and or these noise canceling headphones. They accommodate any special needs that you might have. You have the ability to use center provided writing materials. You can even ask for a handheld calculator, which is nice to have the physical calculator. You get it's a 1 set break for this one, not 2 set breaks. That's for PMP, so it should be 1 break. Your testing center cons would be testing center availability can be limited depending on where you're located, and of course concerns of COVID, and requires inspection of clothing and glasses. So they just have you kind of pat down your clothing to make sure that you don't have anything tucked away. So okay, I'm sorry, I'm checking the chat. I bought the simulator and the book and didn't use them yet. Okay, simulator subscription will expire. Yes, reach out to us, Mukhtar, and please reach out to us and we can extend that for you. Because we understand there's circumstances where you can't, get to things in the timely way before the license expires. Absolutely. Reach out to either info@ or students@rmcls.com, and we will make sure that we take care of you. Okay, not to worry. Good question. Okay, so as far as the online proctored, it's just a little bit easier to get in. Again, depending on where you're located, you can test sooner, 24/7, all days of the week. You have possibilities there. We don't have to travel, no concern of COVID. You have an online whiteboard and online calculator, which can be good, or again, it's 1 break. Or it may be challenging. Maybe the online whiteboard and calculator may take a little more time, so it could also be a con. You also need to make sure that you have a space at home or at work where you have no noise or interruptions, and you can't be moving your lips and talking because they might say, well, are you talking to somebody in your room? So you just have to have limited movement when you're taking this exam at home. Okay, so checklist, everything, we kind of talked about, we can't have interruptions. You do have to take pictures of things around you. They want to see your desk space and so on if you're taking this from home. But you can, again, go onto pmi.org and get all the information about how to take, how all the requirements, the technical requirements of your computer. It's really simple though. Not a lot is required. And it's just a few things you have to do to make sure your space is, in a cleared and that you don't have anything on your desk and so on. So I just want to make sure that we've covered everything here. Let's see. Yeah, there are some technical requirements, but if you go to Pearson VUE, is that you can either go to pmi.org and get access to information because it'll take you to Pearson VUE. You can go directly to pearsonvue.com to get information for not only online, but also test center information. You can also do a mimic whiteboard. You can actually practice with the actual whiteboard you're going to be getting for the exam or a similar one. So you'll have a chance to do that. And it looks like this. You can, you'll get to practice it. Let's see. And you just want to make sure you set up yourself for success and you have an action plan. And write your study plan, test your system, analyze your environment for compliance, take exam simulation using the rules for check-in, breaks, movement, etc. Analyze how it worked for you, decide on your exam format, rewrite your study plan, and schedule exam and complete your study. So you want to basically have a plan. I know not everybody's there yet, but you want to kind of set yourself up for success and create a plan of action, from application submittal to picking your date. And once you have your exam date, you want to work backwards. And you want to create your study plan and really post it in your calendar and make sure you have everything set up for yourself. When am I going to study this? And when am I going to study that? And, have everything outlined for yourself. So let's see what we have. Anything else in the, we're at the end, so I just want to make sure, are there any questions? You can post it in chat. Let's see. Dedicate per day for the preparation. Great question. So this is going to be, it depends how much time you have between now and the date of your exam. So you want to really work backwards, like I was saying, and make that work for your schedule. We all have different schedules. We all have competing priorities. So set aside a time that's reasonable. If you can study an hour a day, just everybody has different amount of time they can allocate. The main thing is that once you have your date, that you have everything planned out, that you can cover everything that you need between the time that you have the date and the time, where you are today. And you really lock that in and get serious about doing that in your schedule, just like you would a meeting at work, and you keep to that study plan, whatever you have. That's the most important thing. Nightmare proctors that do not let you go to the bathroom. Now, I've never heard of that, Brent. That is not, that's a challenge. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's true about the power going out. You have to start over again. So go to a test center, it's on them. Yeah, that's a good point. That's right. So at least if you go to test center, you don't have to worry about any of those possibilities of things happening technically on your end where you'd have to start all over again. So it's rare, but I have also heard of it happening, Brent. Yes, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else have any questions about the CAPM and what to expect and where you are? And we try to do these particular events like you're here today. We're going to try to do these fairly regularly. So keep in touch with us. We'll try to, I know we send emails out as well, but keep in touch on our website. So that if you want to attend another one of these, we have right after this one, I have a PMP one that's coming up. So that would be lovely if you would like to join that one. Question.
Yes, I chat, and maybe this isn't the right place. After prior, what is the difference between project and program? I reached out to someone on LinkedIn who
Yeah.
I spoke to about whether to take PMP or the CAP, and she said based on what we were talking about, the CAP was probably where I should head. So I'm wondering when you take that and if you pass it, is there credit or is there something else that they give you if you go to the next
Yes.
difference between the program? Some of that stuff
Yeah.
overlap.
Yeah. So CAPM is not quite as rigorous as the PMP certification. So it's a really great, there's going to be the same content, but it's not as much and not as robust and not as detailed. So if you want to get started, CAPM is a great way to start. And then it will also count towards your educational credits for applying for the PMP exam. So it really gives you an advantage. If you kind of want to go in order like that and do CAPM, and then you have additional credentials, you have the CAPM credentials and the PMP credentials. But no, it really is. It's a great getting into it. And there's a lot of amazing information in CAPM alone, but the PMP is just going to have more details, more robust information on the whole process end to end with all the ins and outs.
Okay.
So that the exam is longer, it's more intense, there's more requirements to keep up. So you have 15 PDUs that you need for CAPM to keep those up every 3 years. With the PMP, you have 60 PDUs, sorry, professional development units that you're
Okay.
required to have to keep up for every 3 years, which is also easy. But just so you know, it's just going to be more intense and more rigorous. So if you're like, I just want to get into it now, CAPM is a great way to start. Plus, it'll really help you when you're filling out your application because you already have your CAPM. So you've met, your educational requirements as far as that piece of it. So yeah, really, does that answer your question?
Yeah, a lot. Now,
Okay.
the other part, because the job I do a lot of programs and projects seem to overlap, but I don't know how
Yeah.
you guys define, that, because I may not have the experience
Yeah.
with projects.
So absolutely. So I'll answer that, and then I have to. I need to jump into my PMP webinar. So what I will say is, so projects roll up. So sometimes programs, they're kind of think of it as an umbrella, and several projects. Will be part of a program, which is led by a program manager. So you have the program manager that has oversight for all the projects, and the projects have some connection to the program, such that they can leverage, resources, for example. They can reduce risk. There's going to be some benefits to having those projects that are part of the program that management decided that these projects need to be part of this program. So that's really what it's about. And so you have that program manager, and then the project manager is going to be coordinating with the program manager when they know their project is part of a program. So I'll leave it there. Thank you
Okay,
so much for,
thank you.
your questions, and reach back out to us if you have additional questions. And I appreciate this short session, but hope to see you soon, and best of luck. Reach out to us if we can help in any way. All right, I'm going to switch over to my other webinar. Take care, everyone, and thanks again.